Early polling results from Nigeria's election suggests that Muhammadu Buhari is ahead of President incumbent Goodluck Jonathan, but we know that this hasn't been an easy election for Nigeria, certainly due to Boko Haram's activity in the northeast of the country. We know that Boko Haram targeted polling stations by destroying ballots and even kidnapping people. Of course, Nigeria's military are on an offensive, but certainly seem to be losing in some parts. Now, I'm joined on the line by Prince Adibe. He's an independent political analyst, and he's going to speak to us about the ongoing Nigerian elections, the elections that are being counted at this moment. Prince, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, you are keeping a very keen eye on what's happening in your home country.
Yes. It has been very interesting. I can't help but to follow it blow by blow.
So, Prince, I want you to talk us through what we're seeing at the moment, and that's that Buhari is ahead of Goodluck Jonathan in the polls. Was this something that you were anticipating? Was this something that other political analysts looking at Nigeria were anticipating?
I must say, it's a very big shock. We all are sitting right now and opening our mouths like this. You know, we never saw this coming, we never expected it. And I must say, it's the first time ever in Nigeria that an opposition will unseat an incumbent.
Now, Prince, we know that during the last election, when Goodluck Jonathan won, around 800 people were killed in protests. And this is obviously something that's incredibly worrying. Can we anticipate more violence after the elections when the results have been announced? Does President Goodluck Jonathan, if he were to lose, have supporters who could potentially be violent?
You know, I must say, so far, with the way the election is going on, with the way the collations of the results have begun to unfold, one can't really say, but I do fear tension might flare up. But again, another worrying factor that I find personally very disturbing is the very premature statement that the joint statement the United States of America and the Britain has issued so far. They believe that so far the election hasn't completely been credible in most parts. And that is very shocking, because that for me might incite violence. A country as influential and as dominating as the United States cannot come out and make such a statement. I think even if they have found evidence of irregularities, they should have waited to see the outcome of the result. Because right now, you're fueling tension. Because now people are going to see that even the United States have observed it and have deemed it, have found that there have been irregularities. So I think on that aspect, it will further fuel tensions. But many have argued that should Buhari have lost the elections, it would have been very, very worse. Because now we know APC is a very, very radicalized opposition. We know they're Muslims. We know that they don't take no for answer. We saw what happened in 2011. It was because of this same opposition who had lost. So many have argued that, again, it's actually better with the way things are going, that the ruling party are more likely to accept defeat than the opposition. So, but again, we might see violence, but it might not be as much as up to the proportion of what we saw in 2011. But with any violence, I'm afraid I think there will be.
Prince, I want you to speak to us about something that you touched on earlier, and that was the technology around the voting system. We saw that a glitch in the technology meant that the voting was extended for an extra day. Are you getting reports that everything's been resolved? Are there reports coming through that everybody who wanted to vote has been given that opportunity?
Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. We saw violence erupt in Rivers State. Rivers State particularly is key. It's a major oil-producing region in Nigeria. We saw over 2,000 women who took to the street protesting that there hasn't been election at all in Rivers State. And all of a sudden, Rivers State was announced that PDP won a staggering 95%. So many have begun to question the credibility of the polls that have come out from that region. We know that earlier on Saturday morning, we did experience problems with the biometric machine, which, if you remember very well, months leading to the election, the PDP has decried that machine. They've said that that machine can't be trusted. They said that such machine shouldn't be used. But the APC further pressed because they believe that will be very hard to manipulate. I mean, the biometric machine now. So the machine did fail, yes, no doubt. But I believe that the Sunday's the fact that it was carried over to Sunday did make up for lost time. I did believe that the machine shouldn't really be a hindrance or shouldn't really tamper with the credibility of the election. Though they were, yes, they did malfunction in the early hours, but I'm sure they were able to get over that. Atahiru Jiga, the current INEC chairman, did mention that they made up for lost time. That was why it went into Sunday. But again, the concerns that we're getting at the moment, the reports we're getting at the moment, are not as a result of the malfunctioning of that device. We're seeing accusations being made that both parties had rigged these polls. So one can't really question this biometric data machine. It cannot be blamed for if the inadequacies in the elections. It did malfunction, but we were able to get over that, and voting went on as normal.
Prince, having spoken to you via email, I know that you and people around the world, and especially people who call Nigeria home, are particularly concerned about the influence of Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria especially. And we certainly saw a spike in violence towards the election, with ballot papers being destroyed. Won't you speak to us about what's happening with regards to Boko Haram in northern Nigeria at the moment?
You know, I was giving an interview weeks leading to the elections, and you know, all the interview I gave, I kept on harping on the need to curb the insurgency of Boko Haram. The problem is that we all think that Boko Haram is a Nigerian problem, and it's far, far more escalated beyond that. Boko Haram has become a nightmare that has plagued Africa. It's a threat to Africa. I actually wrote an article in that. Boko Haram has completely, they've taken over Nigeria by storm. They began with Nigeria. If I were to quote the word of Abubakar Sheikh, the leader of the insurgents, he actually said that, listen, we're done with Nigeria, we overcome Nigeria, we're now going for Africa, and subsequently we take on the world. So whoever wins this race must first of all put Boko Haram as a major issue on the front burner. Boko Haram, I lack words to actually tell you the degree of impact. You only have to go to northeastern Nigeria to see for yourself the degree of carnage that happens in that country on a daily basis. Women and children are being slaughtered in the most cruel manner. It's horrible. It's terrific. And I'm scared. I'm very worried that we handling Boko Haram as a very mild organization. But these guys are militants who have grown, who are getting funding. We've had rumors that they've been funding internationally. We've had rumors that even this current opposition is being funded by Boko Haram. They're funding Boko Haram, rather. So the insurgency of Boko Haram has escalated to the point that it has become a global threat, not just an African threat, in fact. It has become a global threat. We saw last month they pledged allegiance to ISIS, and ISIS has accepted such allegiance. So now we've seen them grow from this Nigerian network to a very global network of terrorists. They are indeed a big threat to the world. They're a threat to Africa, majorly. And I think until African leaders come together and tackle this issue head on, we will not curb this very, very deadly insurgency of Boko Haram.
That's independent political analyst Mark Adibe. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll catch up again with you once we have a definitive answer on who has won the Nigerian elections. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. We're certainly looking forward to it. This is the closest race Nigeria's ever been to. We are sitting down with keen interest because, I mean, this election is critical. It's key. Whoever takes on the reign now will tell us where Africa's largest economy will be going in the next 4 to 5 years from now. So it's a very, very key election. And so far, I must commend Nigeria for the reports we've seen so far. There hasn't been widespread violence. But anyway, we're looking forward to it, and our fingers are crossed. Our fingers are really crossed.